the past done to you? To whom the blame is, must be reckless.
Now I'm here with Her Excellency Alida Francis, Governor of St. Eustatius. Thank you for hosting us. I want to say that off the bat, we heard that you were a great advocate for having this movie come here, and I just want to extend thank you on behalf of Chokehold. Tell me, what led you to that decision when it was brought to the Executive Council?
As a government, we have the responsibility to look at those areas in our social fabric where the fabric is weak to ensure that we can keep the fabric together. And in doing so, the social domain is one of the most important departments within our whole government. And the issue of domestic violence is a universal problem. And in small communities, it still tends to be a taboo. But when you live in small communities, even matters such as domestic violence, where we selectively turn that blind eye, we know it's there and we can't hide from it. So I'm always eager when there are opportunities like this that we can use films such as Chokehold. I think the name in itself says so much. When you are in a chokehold, we watch wrestling and we see where one wrestler would hold the other in a deadlock. You know, chokehold means that your air pipes are being cut off. The air is not getting through your lungs so that you can breathe properly. It's a matter of life and death.
Yeah.
So, and I think that is the same as it is with domestic violence. It's a matter of will you live, will you survive, or will you die? And as a community, we have a responsibility to keep our foundation strong. Strong for the generations that will follow,
Yeah.
our children who witness, who experience. And unfortunately, as a community, we see the spill over of what children experience behind closed doors, in the yard, in family settings. We have the spill over into our schools, our streets, within our sports institutions, the way they are playing with each other. And it is also an indication of what the future can be if we don't get a grip on the effects, the negative effects of domestic violence.
That is so true. Earlier on, you shared a little experience of your own,
Mhm.
in which, first of all, I want to commend you for being brave. A lot of people would look at that and say, hey, but she is in a position of authority and she probably shouldn't share this. But your story can help somebody else. Please give an example of, or not an example, a brief explanation why you would tell your story.
You know, I come from very humble beginnings. The last of six children who have had a mother was a victim of domestic violence, as I've shared. And a part of the story that I missed this evening was telling the audience that had my mother's husband at the time succeeded in hanging her, because I told the story of what happened, I would not have been here.
Mm.
And it is something that you keep very close to your bosom, because in our culture as women, people in leadership, you are expected to be strong.
Yeah.
But in your strength, you must be able to show some form of vulnerability,
Yeah.
because then people can get to understand. And so you don't achieve what I've achieved without struggle. And that has been part of my struggle. And it has helped me to make certain decisions in my life, decisions about what I would accept and what I would not accept. I shared with you here this evening also that I was once married to someone I love very much. But the onset of the signs,
Yeah.
I may not have known the signs had I not known about my mother's own dilemma, had I not read about her story. So that was for me the red flags that we talk about. Not everyone is as fortunate. I was fortunate, but it has also made me make some decisions when I reflect back. Probably robbed myself of some aspects of life, but at the same time helped me to be strong, helped me to be resilient, helped me to be an advocate. A lot of times when I speak out, Ms. Irena shared with you that I've been always an advocate for children's right,
Mhm.
because I do believe whatever we do as a society, whatever we do as adults, has an effect on the
Yeah.
children. And it is no lie, the children would be the ones to carry on our legacy. What is the legacy? Is it a positive legacy? Is it a negative legacy? Is it a legacy that would build up, or is it a legacy that will destroy?
Yeah.
And so I've always been an advocate for children's rights. And I wanted to share that aspect because hopefully it will help some people to understand why I've always been an advocate. But if they don't, it's also okay
Yeah.
because I will continue to be
Yeah.
an advocate.
But we're speaking about children right now. And before we ask you how you found the movie, and we talk a little bit about that. We're speaking about being an advocate for children.
Mhm,
You stepped out of a marriage.
mhm.
We're not here to tell people to break up, but can you please? I mean, the family already have so much that's going against them, and now people are thinking, "Hey, you want to break up marriages? That's not our function and our goal." Please give a little
You are
example
you
of
are
that.
very right. I believe I'm glad that you touched on this because as I shared my story, I said, by the local government allowing our community through chokehold to have insight into what domestic violence is and the destruction it can cause and the dissension it causes in families. The idea is not to say to you, hey, we have come here to tell you that if you are going through a situation of domestic violence, that you should break up tomorrow. I think we have seen every aspect of domestic violence in chokehold. We have seen the verbal abuse, we've seen sexual abuse, we have seen also the unspoken energy, the negative
Mhm.
energy that also grips, has such a strong grip on the victim. We've seen where it spilled over into abuse against the child. So we have seen every aspect. It does not mean that some situations are irreparable, because I think families where there's a strong love and there's a willingness to grow together and to heal together,
Mhm.
that the possibilities are there. And that is why it is important in communities like ours, and we see it worldwide, that you do have services like the ones that we have here on
Yeah.
station. That is why, as an executive council, of which I'm proud to form part of, that we supported this initiative of chokehold, because it is important as a community that we loosen that chokehold
Mhm.
of domestic
Yeah.
violence and the chokehold that it has on our community, but also on the future of our island.
So we've talked a bit about, domestic violence and stuff. The movie. We know that it was shot in St. Martin, people that look like us. We
Mhm.
even had somebody who hit a stint, a very short little appearance
I saw
that
that
is from
clear.
exactly right from the island of Statia.
Yeah.
Tell me what you found about the movie.
I spoke with the director. I think what this movie has shown us that domestic violence can be found in any setting.
Mhm.
I think the setting St. Martin was extremely beautiful, a beautiful showcase of the island. But we also saw a gentleman in a very honorable position, a police officer. The most beautiful home, everything was beautiful.
Yeah.
As you walk towards the home, it was beautiful, modern. It shows that there's so much hidden behind the beauty
Mhm.
that we sometimes see, that life and people's lives can be misleading. So they can look um, opulent and happy on the outside, but there's sometimes so much hidden behind the facade
Yeah.
of our homes.
Wow.
And so we can never judge. I think one of the aspects of the movie that I found very powerful was in the case of the victim. She had so much support. She had
Said,
support
she
from
said,
siblings, her best friend, even the colleague of her husband, who was a fellow officer, a male figure who really wanted to help her, her sister. So um, that is not something we see normally, that male plays such a prominent role. And I like the fact that the director, the writer, was able to highlight and to expose to the audience that will see this that there's a role for men and it can be a positive role.
yeah.
So while the male in this case, because we must take note that females can be the predators, they can be the ones who commit the offense. But we've seen here the positive image in which the male was exposed in a very positive way. And hopefully that resonates in our community because very often when the male is the one who commits the crime, because domestic violence is a crime, let's
Yeah.
call it what it is. His friends know, his brothers know, his colleagues know, and they tend to generally turn a blind eye.
Yeah.
In this case, I think it was masterfully done because if we want the narrative to change, we must also profile those men who do, because there are men who play a positive role in trying to combat domestic violence.
A couple of years ago, I met you,
Mhm.
and it was in a very different setting,
Yes.
and it had to do with the arts. It had to do, and I know that you have a passion for the arts. You have a passion for creativeness. So tell me, um, what do you think this does for the orange economy, for the creatives in our region? Having a budget like this, a big budget movie like this, shot in St. Martin, um, possibly we could have one here in Statia. What do you think that it does for the economy and for the creatives?
I want to go back to the time because I lived and I started my career as a young professional on St. Martin, and I was in St. Martin in the days of the Ian Wells,
Mm-hmm.
when you had a very active and vibrant theater community of
Yeah.
actors. And we saw how that gradually, we had that here on Statia too. So I am hoping, because I saw our former Miss Statia, former Miss PJ, the two Caribbean Queen, 2000, Maluska Yusen, born and raised here, raised partly in Curacao, but was born here. We saw her with a brief stunt at
Yeah.
the supermarket. I thought it was beautiful. She's also a creative mind, especially when it comes to the makeup and for different types of scenarios. So she's great at that. I am hoping that, as I said to Mrs. Hunt, Irena, and her team when they came to speak to us, when it comes to matters of social concerns that can place our community in a negative light, if we are to invest as a community, if we are to invest as a government, the price tag should never be too high. If we believe by making that investment, we can make a change.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this could also reopen opportunities for what you call the orange
Economy.
economy. Because I think there are a lot of talented people. We saw our own Boko here
Yeah.
who does his own thing, but we have a number of very talented people in this community as well. So I will encourage you, Mr. Martina, the director, and all these people here. Let's do something that
Great.
broadens and exposes the talents that we have here at St. Martin, Sabre. I understand you'll be going to Sabre
Yes.
as a warm place in my heart as well.
Mm.
And as Triple S Islands,
Yeah.
we bring all the talents together. but also to highlight the issues that touches us, especially those that can have a negative impact that we can do and start taking steps backwards from the direction in which we are going.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you so much for taking your time out to have this little interview with me.
yes,
And we look forward in doing many, many more collaborations with the people of Statia. Thank you so much.
thank you so much as well. Blessings. Yes. Okay.
Ungrateful, so heartless. Tell me, what has the past done to you? To whom the blame is must be